So I'm a little more rugged up for this video than I have been for some of my other videos. It's absolutely freezing in Melbourne at the moment. I just came in from being outside, so I am trying to get as warm as possible. It's not raining or anything, it's just miserable weather. The Arctic chill is nuts. You'd think I'd be used to it by now, having lived here for almost 2 years, but no. So I went and saw Spider-Man Far From Home at Crown Village Cinemas tonight. A bit weird for a Marvel film to release on a Monday. I think they're trying to make the most out of the 4th of July weekend in the States. And it seems to be doing a pretty good job from all box office metrics so far. So that's obviously a good decision, I guess. Probably wouldn't have made a whole lot of money in any of the day screenings today, and I doubt it would make a whole lot of money during this week, and the opening weekend probably won't be as huge, obviously because it's released on a Monday, so that's going to be an interesting story to watch. But I loved it. I thought it was an absolutely fantastic movie. Probably a lot better than the first Spider-Man movie, which I loved. It had higher stakes than Homecoming, and Tom Holland was still at the best of his game. I think he's probably one of the best Spider-Mans we've ever had. He is just such a strong performer and really has the characterization of Spider-Man down. He has that awkward politeness about him that probably comes from him being a British actor, I guess, but he just delivers the role so honestly, takes the best of what Tobey Maguire did and the best of what Andrew Garfield did and kind of added all of that without any real flaws in his performance. Aging Spider-Man down quite a bit has also given the ability to be a bit more diverse with his storytelling and sort of introduce really like John Hughes kind of plot lines, which I think has been a really interesting way of doing it. Before you watch any more of this video, I am going to try to be as spoiler-free as possible, but this movie is very hard to describe without giving a few spoilers, but I will try to keep it as innocent as I can and as spoiler-free as I can. The performances across the board were quite good. There were definitely moments in the performances that were foreshadowing, I guess, of things that were going to happen later in the movie. Obviously, Tom Holland's performance was quite strong, but it has been throughout all the films. I think he's really become quite comfortable in the character after Infinity War and Endgame, so the road that we've seen from him in Civil War to the road that we've seen from him in Far From Home is actually really cool to watch. The supporting cast was amazing. I think Kobe Smulders is a brilliant actress, and I thought that she was kind of missing something in this film, but that makes a lot of sense as the film sort of progresses. I think not to give spoilers that are too big, but the 2 post-credit scenes are probably some of the most important that we've seen in Marvel history. The first one is super important to the future of Marvel, and the second one, while still holding on to that trend of being comedic, was still very strong in delivering what it needed to. I think that the best part about the film is probably the post-credit scenes. They just have so much in them that are going to really push this film and Marvel into sort of what we expect for Phase 4. And it definitely was shocking. There are some big plot twists that happen throughout the film. And then in the post-credit scenes, they're built on a little bit further, which is really cool to watch. Beyond Tom Holland, the cast was incredible. Jake Gyllenhaal plays one of the most well-rounded characters for sort of their first film. The motivations of that character were really played out very well and delivered perfectly by Jake. I think he is probably one of the actors in the industry that has the most range, and I think that this is a role that kind of lets him deliver a lot on that spectrum. I don't want to say too much about that character, but his delivery as Mysterio was really good, and the plot twists around that were quite good as well. Probably one of my favorite parts about this film was Zendaya's performance as MJ. In the first film, she didn't get to do a whole lot, and in this film, she really got to deliver a lot more from a supporting character perspective, and her and Tom Holland's chemistry was built on a lot more in this film than it was in the first film. From a story perspective, it was somewhat predictable, I guess, which does drag it down a little bit. But even with that being said, I don't think that it needed to be unpredictable. I think with the post-credit scenes and what they have introduced to the cinematic universe, they delivered enough that what happens next is so up in the air. So the film didn't need to deliver that too much, I think, because they knew that they had what was coming in the post-credit scenes, and kind of what we were to expect from here. What is my hair doing? Kind of what we were to expect from here would be opened up, and I think they did a great job in that perspective. My favourite part of this film, two things actually, were the Spider-Man costume changes. I think he had like 7 or 8 different costumes in this movie, and all of them were really good. The development of the character was quite strong, and the way he changed costumes to fit where his mind was at in the movie was really effective. Beyond that, the other favourite moment was probably the direction. There are things in this movie that the Marvel Cinematic Universe hasn't really gone into before, as far as depth of the multi-layer and sort of the illusionist aspect of the Mysterio's character, allowed the film to be cinematographically, that is a very difficult word to say, very different and very individual to all of the other movies, and I'm hoping that as we progress into Phase 4 that's what we're going to expect. Beyond that, I loved this film and I could talk about it for hours, but kind of the last thing that I'm going to comment on is it was a perfect end to Phase 4. It took everything that Endgame did, built on it really well, and delivered a fascinating and very final end to a number of different stories. Again, I don't want to spoil Endgame because I know there are people out there that are upset that Tom Holland did it, but the things that ended that film were delivered on really well in this film, and were felt. The moments in that film that really changed Marvel forever were felt in this film in ways that I didn't expect, and I imagine a lot of people didn't expect. So yeah, go see Far From Home. It's been disappointing so far. All the movies I've seen since I started this YouTube channel have all been movies that I've raved about for the most part, aside from X-Men, but that was a long video, probably a bit too long, and I had a lot to say about that film that was mostly negative, whereas I don't have a whole lot to say about this film that was negative. So, or the other films that I reviewed, it's been a great year for film so far, and I think this is probably another height that we've seen this year, an improvement on a lot of the Marvel sequels, at least Thor, big massive improvement to that, and Ant-Man 2, not great films, but this one was a great film that delivered a lot and was really, really spectacular. Probably going to be releasing a couple of videos over the next couple of weeks. There's a number of movies I'm seeing Annabelle Comes Home on Friday, and then Booksmart next Monday, and then following that I'll be seeing The Lion King very soon. While I was at Far From Home tonight, the Lion King trailer played, and I've been trying to avoid the trailers for it because mostly because I didn't want to watch the trailers alone in my bedroom and bawl my eyes out, but it turns out that it played before Far From Home and I bawled my eyes out in the cinema, so that worked out really well. So that's probably just going to be a review of me bawling my eyes out in front of the camera for 5 minutes, so I might have to watch it a second time before I review it. It looks incredible. The trailer was out of this world good. I'm not sure which trailer I saw because I know that a number have come out, but it just looks wonderful. So I cannot wait to watch that film and then review it. So yeah, go see Spider-Man Far From Home, and I will be reviewing more films coming up. Thanks for watching.